Go ahead and roll for perception.
I got an 18.
Ooh, 18 is really good. With that, you can see some advertising space available.
So you're telling me if I have a product YouTube channel or podcast that I want advertised, I could do it here?
That's right. And you can get more details by emailing the Dungeoncast@gmail.com.
Awesome. I'll have to do that. Thank you very much.
Enjoy the show. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Dungeoncast. I'm Brian.
And I'm Will.
This is the podcast where we talk about everything Dungeons & Dragons, from certified sailors to scintillating skulls. And today we're talking about centaurs.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Will.
Let's talk about another equestrian monster. Mm-hmm. We just recently talked about the unicorn, and now we will talk about centaurs.
Centaurs. We're going to talk about reverse centaurs at the end of the episode, just so everybody knows.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
This is news to me.
Yeah. And then I'm going to direct everybody to an episode of My Brother and Me.
Okay, gotcha. So D&D centaurs are large, monstrous humanoids based upon the centaurs of Greek mythology. They resemble humans with the lower bodies of horses, or horses with the upper bodies of torsos of humans, depending on how you view them.
Yeah.
So centaurs of Greek mythology have two differing origins. The first one being that Ixion, king of Lapiths, was tested by Zeus for lusting after Hera. Zeus created a cloud nymph named Nephil and gave her the likeness of Hera and sent her to seduce Ixion, which she succeeded in doing, of course. For some reason, their offspring became the first centaurs. It's not really explained.
Boom.
So I guess a cloud and a human made horse people. Anyways,
yeah.
Side note, Ixion was punished for pretend boinking Zeus's wife. He was blasted by a
Did you just say pretend boinking?
Yeah. Pretend fucking? Like pretend screwing? Pretend making love? I mean, I can say this in 1,000 different ways, Brian.
I'm back.
Okay,
let's go.
He was blasted by a thunderbolt from Zeus and then tied to a burning solar wheel for all of eternity. Good job, Ixion.
Good job.
The second version of centaur origin in Greek mythology is a man named Centaurus fucked a Magnesian mare and thus engendering the race of centaurs. Take your pick. I mean, it's not really pertinent to D&D, but I thought it was kind of interesting.
First one? Shit.
Regardless of origins, Greek centaurs are seen by historians and writers as these liminal beings caught between the unbridled wildness of nature and the wise civility of man. This is reflected in various Greek legends, but it's also reflected in the D&D versions of the centaurs.
Okay.
Who are themselves like this strange balance or conflict between being civilized humanoids and being wild monsters out in the forest and in grasslands.
Like Harry Potter? I feel like that's kind of how they are.
I mean,
I
think Harry Potter's centaurs are very reminiscent of D&D centaurs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which are based off of this.
Yeah. I think everyone kind of agrees on what centaurs are to a certain degree.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Unless you're me.
Unless you're Brian.
Okay.
So traditional D&D centaurs are depicted as large creatures that stand about 7 to 8 feet tall and weigh about 2,100 pounds. For some reason.
God damn.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're fucking the size of horses.
They're basically horses.
They're horses. Yeah. So
they're more than horses. They have most of a horse on there. And then half of a person.
Yeah, they should outweigh horses by a hair or so.
And they should underweigh the average horse and rider. Think about that one.
You are right. Yeah.
No legs on that bad boy. Well, 4 legs.
For some reason, the Ravnica setting gave their centaurs essentially pony bodies to keep them the medium size. I personally think this is stupid.
Well, like mini horse? Like from Robin Big? I
guess so.
Okay.
I don't know what that is, but I guess so.
They almost like, how we were talking about how deer like bound around, they like spring. They almost kind of do that, but like on individual like leg spring sort of. I don't know. I feel like they pop around. They're like you ever walk on your toes, like you go from heel all the way to toe to like work your calves out while you walk. I know like wrestlers do that.
Yes.
Like that.
Okay, cool.
I don't know.
What does that have to do with this? What?
It's making me, I'm trying to picture centaurs as we talk, movement. Right. If you shrink it, I just thought about them like.
If you shrink them in size.
They're almost skipping.
Okay, how does shrinking them in size make them skip?
Because they make me think of mini horses.
What is a mini horse?
What does it sound like?
I mean, is it just a miniature horse?
Yeah.
Oh, is this a real thing?
This is a real thing.
Do miniature horses not gallop like normal horses?
They can try. I don't know. They kind of do that pop thing I'm talking about.
That's interesting. I'm gonna have to look into this.
They're like show horses.
So, anyways, I think this interpretation to make centaurs medium is stupid, and I would ignore it.
Okay.
I understand that it's probably for mechanical reasons, but mechanics be damned. As I've said before, horses are fucking big.
Yeah.
And centaurs are also fucking big.
So what? They're not medium like all the time then?
Ravnica is the first instance I've ever seen of medium-sized centaurs.
So they're usually large.
Yeah. Horses are large creatures in D&D when it comes to the battle grid.
I should really look at like the animal stat blocks.
Yeah, thus centaurs should also be, in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
So centaurs' horse halves are identical to mundane horses in pretty much every way. They can have coats that range in color, texture, and length as varying as any horse. Their humanoid halves are well-muscled and broad. Their ears are pointed like elves. They're usually unclothed, but centaur warriors are known to wear light leather armors.
Nice. Okay.
So generally speaking, centaurs are depicted as majestic and intimidating creatures with handsome and noble facial features. They're supposed to be very attractive.
Okay.
At least they're humanoid like facial features. And whatnot.
Sure. Like an elf.
Like an elf. Yeah. So sometimes they're depicted as having long hair that grows down their humanoid back like a horse mane.
Ooh.
Which that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool touch
nice.
there. Yeah. Yeah.
Just like flowing human hair.
Right. Exactly.
Nice.
Depending on the source book you are using, there are two distinct types of centaurs. Those who are reclusive forest dwellers with a more sylvan face spin to them, and those who are grassland nomads that migrate in tribal herds with a more barbaric spin to them.
Okay.
Both seem pretty cool, and I could see both existing in the same campaign setting, but this is just your average, no one agrees. Like whenever a book comes out and centaurs are included, someone just makes shit up.
Yeah.
And so there's no like through line between all the editions and all the source books. So like basically half the books had the forest dwelling ones, half the books have the grass dwelling ones. And I'm just going to present both of them.
I'm sure there's like a slew of fantasy novels that fall in between here and there that like detail whatever they want about centaurs pretty much that we don't have data on right now.
Yeah, sure. So the forest dwelling centaurs are the more traditional of the two, and the one I was more familiar with before researching this topic. They dwell deep within remote temperate forests. The wilder, the better. These centaurs see themselves as noble guardians of the forest. They feel fiercely protective of their homes and responsible for the creatures that share their woods. Most adult centaurs spend most of their waking hours either hunting or patrolling their territory, any outsiders that are caught encroaching on the territory, the centaur will approach, and if you're lucky, they'll just warn you off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're being destructive, you're encroaching on their territory. Or if you're unlucky, they'll just fucking mercilessly attack you.
You just hear, and then you're like,
exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what a centaur would do. So although some centaurs live solitarily or with like a mating pair, most dwell in a tribal hunter-gatherer society. These tribes have a druidic kind of outlook on life, and they strive to find a balance between their needs and the needs of their tribe with the needs of nature around them.
So they're like nomadically like moving around the countryside or the forest or whatever.
Not really. Like they'll pick a forest and then that's the forest they live in and they never leave.
Sure, but forests are big, right? They rotate like around within those confines because like hunter gatherer, you kind of pick all the fruit in one area, you move on to another area, sort of deal.
Yeah, I guess they kind of would do that. I mean, they're all always out patrolling and hunting anyways.
Yeah.
We got to also remember they're horses, so they're not like people who would need to do that. The horses can literally range out.
They can get a good distance.
Get far and they can get there fast.
They can run fast.
Exactly. So yeah, there's that.
They have thumbs.
And they have thumbs.
It really is the best of both worlds.
It really is.
Yeah.
Though they are an intense, proud, and noble people, they are also peaceful by nature.
Okay.
So
just territorial and weird
very
about
territorial, very reclusive, and they're kind of jerks, but they generally aren't
peaceful jerks.
All about conflict.
No, they're trying to stay solo.
Indeed. The balance that they seek with nature is actually difficult for them to obtain. That's why it's mentioned at all, because, I mean, for most animals, it's not that difficult. But one of the problems is centaurs are such massive creatures. They require a massive amount of food and drink to survive. That paired with their hunter-gatherer lifestyle, it can be really problematic for the environment.
Yeah, you need a lot of water, a lot of
water, a lot of food, a lot of calories. They got a big body.
Yeah, and
they got a big brain because they got the humanoid brain, and that takes a lot of calories too.
Yeah, man. Are you eating eggs? What are you doing to get that protein?
Sure, yeah, because they're well muscled.
Yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Another thing too is like this limits like the size of their tribe, because if they get too big, they'll ruin their environment.
Okay.
So yeah. Furthermore, they have a taste for wine and are notoriously wild drunks and are given to spirited rampages when they overindulge. So they have to be careful there too, because they'll destroy their environment.
Was it hippogriffs or griffins that eat the horses?
Griffins.
Okay. What did we touch on centaurs in that episode?
I don't remember if we did, but I could see griffins and centaurs having fucking problems.
Okay, yeah, good.
Definitely.
Okay.
Because griffins are going on a piece of that.
Good lore. For sure. That's good lore.
Yeah, it is. The war between the griffins and the centaurs.
And the horse-like creatures.
Indeed. So centaurs have a matriarchal society.
Okay.
While the stallions are in charge of the hunting and fighting, the mares are in charge of the food gathering, trading with other races, and tribal decisions.
Nice. That's cool.
Centaurs also mate for life. Once they promise themselves to each other, they are always faithful, even should one of the pair die. Divorce is an unknown concept among these people.
You get locked down and that's it. That's over.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. What's their lifespan? If it's
not very long. We'll get into their life cycle a little bit later, but most centaurs are only living up to like 40 years.
That's not the best of both worlds. It's kind of the worst of that world.
Yeah, you get
the horse lifespan.
It's so true. It's very true.
Dang, you're probably eating clean too. Mm-hmm. Like 46 is probably like the high end. And, and you're eating good. Yeah, and it doesn't matter because you're a fucking horse body.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I wasn't going to include this, but I saw something I couldn't unsee with the physiology and anatomy of a centaur. And basically, their human body doesn't have any of the organs below the lungs don't exist. And their lungs are extended down and they have these giant lungs to power this huge body. And then the stomach's actually in the horse body. It makes anatomical sense. And I really respected that. I also didn't need to fucking see it.
You know what? I'm going to show you reverse centaurs. Where it's the horse on top and the human on bottom.
I hate it.
Yeah, a lot of people hate it.
Yeah, and I'm one of those people.
That's my those are the centaurs in my world.
Forest-dwelling centaurs have strong trade relationships with elves. They both dwell in the forest and they deem each other trustworthy. As a general rule, centaurs despise both humans and dwarves due to their tendency to destroy nature.
Yeah, totally.
It makes sense. These centaurs, forest-dwelling centaurs tend to be illiterate. Actually, all centaurs in general tend to be illiterate. They just have no need for it.
Okay.
But forest-dwelling centaurs do speak fluent Elven and Sylvan. Common is actually not commonly spoken by centaurs due to their extremely remote territories and their extreme avoidance of outsiders. So there's a communication breakdown, too, between centaurs and the outside world.
Elven is common to them. That's what they call common.
I would say
that's where things get really confusing.
I would actually say Sylvan's common to them. They happen to speak Elven because they deal with elves.
They're like, speak common. And it's like, you speak common. And no one knows what the fuck's going on anymore.
Exactly.
That's all it takes.
Indeed. That's all it takes. And with that being said, let's take a short rest.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the part of the show where we are not talking about the last thing we were talking about. We are talking about a new thing. That new thing is love, and it comes from our hearts, Will and Brian's hearts, and it's going into your ears and into your heart. Tell them about it, Will. Tell them about the thing I just said.
We love you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
We do love you. It's like a joint love. It's like me and Will make the Dungeoncast, and the Dungeoncast has a beating heart that belongs to all of us.
That's infused with our love.
Yeah, it's our love plus your love. It's all this reciprocation just like blended together into one beating heart that I hold in my hand. Help us. Please. Please help us. We have a sister channel called TDC Plays. We really want to get the subscribers. Will, come back. Will.
That fucking killed me.
Nobody got to see my face for that. Please help us get to 1,000 subscribers on the Dungeoncast Plays channel. It's a sister channel called TDC Plays where me and Will play video games with some other people sometimes. I think it actually mostly might be other people.
I mean, it's
like
a bit of a split.
It's like me, you, and Kiki and Jake.
Yeah, that's basically it. We're gonna get Freeland in on it pretty soon.
Yeah, it's moving along. We have lots of new projects going on, but there's lots of people who are into it. We need more people to be into it. If you could just help us out by going to that channel and hitting subscribe. We're trying to hit that 1,000 marker. It's really important for every channel to have at least 1,000 subscribers.
It's very true.
So yeah, if you guys want to come help us out, that would be really, really awesome. We love both channels. This is obviously our baby here. But we like that baby's good too.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. We're trying to cultivate that one as well.
Yeah. Help us cultivate our babies. And you guys have been so great with telling people about this show. Yeah.
Tell people about that show.
Yeah, maybe. That would be awesome.
Indeed. Are we ready to go back to the episode?
This is a weird short rest. Can we go back to the... let's go back to the show.
Let's get the fuck out of here and back to the episode.
Let's go back to the show.
back.
We've returned.
And so that was kind of the rundown of forest dwelling centaurs.
Okay, yeah.
Let's talk about grassland dwelling centaurs. So
what? I had no idea.
I mean, I literally announced it at the beginning of this episode, but
I don't pay attention.
Okay. Grassland dwelling centaurs are depicted as tribal wanderers that range across lands from mild to hot climates. Their herds migrate across continents and span so wide, it takes decades to repeat a migration route. Because of this, the Centaur tribe might not retread the same path for generations.
Whoa. So this is like Goliaths. Goliaths, like the wandering herd. That's like a crit roll thing, I think.
That's a crit roll thing. Yeah, Goliaths, they wander their mountains, so they're not really nomadic, though.
Okay.
But they are hunter-gatherers as well.
For sure.
As a general rule, these centaurs despise staying in one place for too long.
Okay.
And they think the more sedentary races who dwell in like the homes of wood and stone to be fools, choosing not to leave freely. So.
They walk by a town and they're wandering. It's like idiots.
Exactly. That's exactly how they feel. Stupid humans.
Why the fuck would you ever build a house?
Why would you ever stay in the same spot?
Idiots.
For more than a day.
Look at those caves. Stupid ass dwarves. Idiots.
So in some ways, these centaurs get along with other humanoids even less than their forest dwelling counterparts.
Okay.
Settlements that encroach their migration routes can and will become the targets of their attacks. Mm-hmm. Especially erroneous examples can drive a herd into a rage that leads the centaurs to burn down a fucking settlement.
What?
Yeah, they'll just straight up attack. This is a problem further exacerbated by the fact that centaurs don't recharge ground for decades. So unwitting humans may found a village on a riverbed only to be ruthlessly slaughtered 20 years later by enraged horsemen.
They just start burning everything. You'll thank us later, idiots. Stupid houses. What is a town?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how that goes.
Okay.
That's hilarious.
But like elves do that. They have cities. So like what the fuck?
Yeah, well, again,
these are the
in
wandering
their forest.
ones. Oh, yeah,
just
okay.
don't build it on the road.
This is a totally different mentality of centaur.
Yeah, this is a completely different animal.
These centaurs have bad brain.
Despite this and the reputation centaurs have for quick tempers, they're still a mostly peaceful race. They rarely war amongst themselves or any other race, choosing to simply keep out of foreign affairs entirely. I mean, literally, if you aren't like in their way, like you would never come into conflict with them.
Yeah, like winning, or like losing the lottery of like building your town on the riverside and having it be like fucking smashed down by centaurs is like that only happened once.
What's the last 100 years? Just don't build there.
Just don't build. Just don't build anywhere that might be a centaur path.
Centaurs that can't keep up with the tribe, whether that's due to old age, sickness, or injury, are left behind, most of which will wander alone into the wilderness, never to return. Some, though, may choose to integrate into humanoid society. Frontier settlements greatly value the nature knowledge of centaurs, and many such communities owe their survival to the insights and skills of such a centaur.
This is crazy. So, okay. Are we going to get into like the passing down of like stories and lore? Because like I'm drawing a lot of Goliath parallels in these notes. Just like the weak are left to die, basically, and stuff like that.
That's true.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The lifespan, the like nomadic nature of them.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm wondering if like, do they read book?
Well, they're illiterate.
Oh, right. They don't read book.
They don't read book.
Like Goliath.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Well, are they doing the astrology?
They're definitely more intelligent than Goliaths.
Well, they got to be like star readers, right? The navigators of the earth and shit.
That is more spoken about with the forest dwelling ones. They tend to be, again, more in tune with nature.
Harry Potter.
More druidic, and yeah, they'll be like star readers and whatnot.
Yeah, okay.
But,
divinators.
These ones, again, are more like barbaric tribes out in the wild lands.
These are Goliath centaurs.
I guess so. Sure. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So like we said before, the lifespan of centaurs are quite short, with most only living up to 40-ish years or so. Like horses, centaurs are born able to walk, and unlike horses, they quickly also learn to speak. They also grow very quickly, reaching adulthood by age 5. The origin of centaurs is unknown to man, elf, or centaur. Legends tell of a meeting between a wild elf and a Mustang. But suggesting this to a centaur is deeply offensive. So
yeah,
don't do that.
I was just offended slightly.
Yeah, that's legends. But the reason those legends exist is because no one fucking knows.
It's like the other side of the same coin is like they're out. These nomadic ones are out in the field, and like a regular horse walks by, and like one catches the other one staring. He's like, "Stop making it weird, dude. Stop. Look away. We don't do that."
Indeed. In the eyes of centaurs, they've always existed, and they are no closer related to horses than to dragons.
Okay.
So they definitely don't like the relation.
But it's right there, though. I mean, I
It
can't.
is, but D&D doesn't really have the same reputation of Greek mythology.
Okay.
With like crossbreeding
No,
happening.
yeah.
So, again, the origins are just not stated. The idea is that no one knows.
It's a pretty like,
And
I mean, it's gray area, but it's still like a line.
Right.
being drawn.
Well, one of the reasons that like it's not known is because centaurs, as a general rule, are non-religious. They care little for the activities of the gods whatsoever. They just don't fucking care. Even the centaur deity, Scarret the Forester, is not worshipped by the centaurs. He's respected, but like they don't really care.
Okay.
It's said that he watches over the centaur tribes the same way the centaurs watch over their own lands from a solitary distance.
All right.
Like he doesn't really get involved.
Like he's gonna backhand like the random like evil like incursion or whatever.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, whatever's upsetting the centaurs is gonna upset him by default, anyways.
Yeah, okay.
It's not even that he cares about the centaurs. It's just like the centaurs care about the forest. He cares about the forest.
Sure.
You fuck with the forest, you're gonna upset everyone.
Right.
So there it is.
And centaurs are gonna come burn your house down.
Right. But that being said, they're not religious and no one knows their origins. They're just kind of there.
Weird floating like. Everything has an there's so much D&D lore that has origin, like specific origin. So it kind of upsets me when they just float something out there.
But it's not that uncommon. Like with griffins and hippogriffs, we didn't really get an origin on them either. There's some theories, some legends, but no one really actually knows.
Okay, well, that one doesn't upset me so much because it's like, where do horses come from? It's
right.
like,
I think a centaur would say like, and where do we come from?
Exactly.
It's the same thing.
So
like,
now that I'm changing my mentality, I'm upset less.
okay,
much less. Like almost zero.
Glad. Okay, cool.
I don't care anymore. This is a wild animal, but it's a very smart wild animal.
Sure, yeah. I think that's a fair assessment. Any questions about centaurs before we start getting into the stats? We have two stats to look at. The monster stat presented in the monster manual and the racial stat presented in Ravnica's guide to Ravnica's Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica.
Ravnica's Guide to the Galaxy.
Indeed. That.
What is your take on the centaur in your worlds? Is it a race or a monster?
Well, it's a race. I mean, I don't
give me that shit. It's not. This is a monstrous race.
I wouldn't really. I'm not big on allowing centaurs in my game. I mean, I'm not against it. It's never come up.
Well, no, I'm not saying a player is going to.
They're a people. They have a society. They're intelligent.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I would definitely consider them a race and not a monster.
They sound like a people to me. Yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely a people. That's for sure.
Unless they're the nomadic ones.
And if someone in my game wanted to be a centaur, like, yeah, I'm going to make it work. We have racial stats now. We didn't before, but yeah.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
it did.
Cool. Well, let's get into the actual stat block here. I have it written down, but I got to bring it closer to my eyeballs. So the monster stat block for the centaur, it's a challenge rating 2 monster. So more powerful than your average orc, I would say.
You don't want to get kicked by that.
Definitely not.
Yeah. Don't smack her on the butt.
Centaurs are notoriously strong. They have them statted here at 18, which is very, very strong.
That is strong.
Yeah. 14 constitution, 14 dexterity as well. 9 intelligence. And I think that has less to do with like their inherent intelligence and more with their education level, which is nil.
Yeah, like if they were so inclined, they could probably learn to read and teach it.
Exactly. Yeah. Their wisdom is 13, charisma 11. They speak Elvish and Sylvan, just like I said. So the one feature they have is called charge. If a centaur moves at least 30 feet straight toward a target and then hits them with a pike attack on the same turn, the target takes an extra 3d6 piercing damage.
Shit, yeah.
So if they charge you, it gonna hurt.
It gonna hurt. Is that like what are they carrying like spears? I
this
prefer
is
tridents.
a pike.
Please say tridents.
I mean,
is pike not a spear? What is a pike?
A pike is kind of a spear. It's
spear-like?
a really long spear.
Oh, it's spears advance. Because you can you're pretty tall as a centaur.
In my understanding of like the actual medieval weapon of a pike, it's not a weapon you use like in single combat. Like pikemen are usually, in my understanding, is in a single file line and with super long poles that they hold out. We're talking like 30 feet out.
Oh, you're trying to get your piercing rounds in. You're trying to go through a guy and go through another guy.
Basically, pikemen are more like a wall than anything else.
Oh.
So like when the cavalry comes
yeah.
in, the pikemen go out and then they lean forward.
Just like, you gonna run into the spear, boy.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So like the idea of a centaur wielding a pike is a little weird to me.
Okay. Well, I mean, they got the extra.
I mean, they're big enough maybe, but it's
the
like
center of gravity is like way back here.
So I guess it's just a really big spear, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't matter. You can swap out the weapons anyways. You can just give it a great sword if you want, because that's way more terrifying.
I can impale you with lots of stuff.
It's so true.
I got a big tree branch. Let's go.
So they have multi-attack where they can attack once with the pike and once with their hooves, or twice with their longbow. So yeah, they have a spear, they have their hooves, they have a longbow. The spear's doing a D10 plus 4. The hooves are doing 2D6 plus 4, and the longbow is doing 1D8 plus 2. So yeah, I mean, pretty standard monster. There's really nothing special that stands out.
Pretty cool. Like, I didn't mean to get into this combat. Nobody really wanted it, but it happened. That's like a cool way to put these guys into a fight with your party.
A very neutral creature.
Yeah, like you could fuck up and offend them, and they'll go to war with you.
It's
right
very
then.
true. Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Pretty substantial when you're fighting like 4 or 5 of those.
Oh yeah, 4 or 5 centaurs are gonna fuck a party up.
Well, that's not like unfeasible by any means.
No,
they're probably
not at
going to be
all.
in groups.
Yeah, in a hunting group. Yeah.
If you fucking up real bad, you're going to hit. What do you think the traveling nomadic ones like group size is?
It depends. Do you mean like the whole herd?
Yeah, how big is the herd?
I can't remember if it was stated anywhere, but I would picture it anywhere between, I don't know, 20 to 40.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe like 50.
I think 50 is a little ridiculous because like
it's a lot.
They're not like buffalo. You know what I mean?
No.
Well, I mean, they're just not that numerous. If they were, it'd be fucking horrifying.
That would, yeah. Absolutely would be.
So yeah, you're not going to fight, 50 plus centaurs.
So there's just like maybe there's lots of small groups kind of scattered throughout like a wide range of territory.
Well, one of the reasons that they can't be that numerous anyways is because like buffalo eat grass. So there's plenty of food for their giant bodies.
Yeah, but these guys eat lots of stuff.
And grass isn't one of them. So they have to hunt, and they have to hunt meat. So like the environment wouldn't be able to sustain them even in their nomadic kind of ways.
Can you imagine fucking falling over like at speed as a centaur?
Yeah, that would suck.
You'd die. The centaurs probably die from falling over while they're running.
I don't think so, because like it's very much stated that they have legendary strength. So they're very strong human torsos.
Them abs keep them up.
Yeah, and they're fucking shredded, man. Like yeah, they're
fall
quite
over.
strong.
They actually do a fucking handstand and like correct.
I don't know about that strong.
No, yeah,
but they're very strong. So I think they'll be okay if they fall down. So with that being said, let's talk about the racial stats. So if you want to run these guys, you can. The racial stats are in Ravnica's guide or Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. Again, they're stated to be medium sized. I would just ignore that, but if you want to stick to the actual mechanics, they are medium sized. So let's
what other NPC options are large?
None. And that's why they wanted to stay.
Did it. Okay.
Yeah. Which again, I just think it's stupid. Like if you want to be a fucking centaur, just be a centaur
and like
deal with the repercussions.
A bugbear can like do things that a large creature would do.
Right.
So, but it's just statted as medium.
Yeah.
There must be a reason that you stat an NPC or a PC as a medium,
It's because there are some feats that like have it so that you can do stuff to things your size or a size category larger.
Oh.
So if you're large, you can suddenly like grapple a fucking huge monster.
Right. So
I just think that's cool.
That is cool.
I mean, yeah.
Does it make sense?
Is it powerful and does it make sense? I mean, I think yes, it does make sense, and it is very powerful compared to a medium creature, but I just think it's fun.
I mean, this class has its flaws. Like it could have its strengths be set in those kinds of mechanics, but Ravnica said no, right?
Yeah,
but it's your table.
But the way they said no was weird and stupid. So anyways, back to the racial stats. So centaur characters get a +2 to strength and a +1 to wisdom. Their size is medium technically. Their base walking speed is 40 feet, which makes sense because they're half horse.
Yeah.
They are fey in origin, so it doesn't really give them a mechanical feature, but it just says like they are creature type fey.
Is that for roleplay? Is that for your mental, like the way you approach the character development and stuff?
The only thing that I know of in 5e where your creature type matters is for like druidic transformations and some spells for like sensing stuff. Some people can sense like fey origins or whatever.
Sure.
It's just not going to come up.
I'm more asking like, are they blue-orange mentality? You know how we talk about that in Fey episodes?
I think they border on it when it comes to like, for instance, like burning motherfucking villages down because they're in the goddamn way.
Like Eladrin, how this is kind of like how
I don't think they're at that level of Fey. None of the lore I read made them seem that alien-minded.
Sure, okay.
They actually seem quite tied to the Prime and compared comparison
Oh
to
yeah,
other.
because they're into the surroundings.
Exactly.
Nature.
Versus like satyrs, which are way more alien-minded, much more blue-orange morality.
Okay.
But yeah, so they get a charge feature. If you move, it's the same charge feature. If you move at least 30 feet straight toward a target and then hit with a melee weapon attack on the same turn, you can immediately follow the attack with a bonus action, making one attack against the target with your hooves. So not quite the same, but very similar.
Yeah.
Your hooves attack. Your hooves are natural melee weapons, which you can use to make unarmed strikes. If you hit with them, you deal bludgeoning damage equal to 1d4 plus your strength mod. See, that's too weak to me. Like, it's a fucking horse kicking you in the face. It should be at least a d6. I understand mechanical reasons. You're trying to keep it balanced, but like, and I guess you made them pony centaurs, so I guess it's only a d4 damage.
It's hard, man. Where is it kicking you? Like, people have weak points. Are you wearing a helm or not? Because like, if it kicks you in the mouth, it's fucking over.
The hoof attack for the monster stat is 2d6 plus 4. This is 1d4 plus your strength mod. Again, I know it's for balance purposes, so whatever.
That shit can cave in your skull, like, you know, but that's not how D&D really works.
Yeah, your next feature is called equine build. You count as one size larger when determining your carrying capacity and the weight you can push or drag. In addition, any climb that requires hands and feet is especially difficult for you because of your equine legs. When you make such a climb, each foot of movement costs you an extra 4 feet of movement instead of the normal 1 extra foot. So yeah, you can't scale walls. You're a fucking half horse.
Okay, that's fair.
And the final feature you get is called Survivor. You have proficiency in one of the following skills of your choice: animal handling, medicine, nature, or survival. So yeah,
it's like a
that's your
huge
centaur. It's a solid stat block. I have problems with the flavor, which is actually rare for me. I usually don't have problems with the flavor when it comes to stuff. I actually have problems with the flavor of this racial stat block, but that's just a personal thing.
There's going to be so much, like, if you roll a centaur, there's going to be a lot of abuse of like physical limitations, like things like climbing.
Oh yeah.
They're going to really your character's really going to want to climb sometimes. And your dungeon master might do that to puzzle the team.
And this is why I think that making them large and giving them that advantage is totally fine. Because they also have a horse body, and like shit's difficult when you have a horse body.
Yeah.
You can't walk to the inn if you're a fucking horse, man.
You gotta be
too big.
You got to be really careful about boats.
Yeah, you gotta be careful about boats.
Like, how big is the boat?
I'm not sure how good
like a ferry, I guess.
I don't know how good a swimmer horses are.
Not great.
Yeah. Especially with like the way that they are, their physicality is like situated. Like, in order to maintain, like, okay, let's say the water's at their chest. That means their horse body is like really low in the water.
Yeah.
And that's really weird for
that's
swimming.
Problematic because you're very broad. You're going to get pushed by that water.
And then if the bottom portion of their body is kind of up, so if it's like at the chest height of a horse, then their human body is like up here and it's hard to keep balance. So they're going to fucking drown. Like, basically, as far as I'm concerned.
Unless you've got like the double butterfly going on.
There are plenty of ways to mitigate the advantages that centaurs would have from being large by having them have disadvantages when it comes to a lot of environmental stuff. I'm
sure in most bodies of water, you are a horse. You could probably walk through most streams, no problem.
Yeah. But you get dropped in the ocean, you're in trouble probably.
Or a major river, you're not going to be able to cross that shit, and it's going to be challenging to get somebody in a boat that is that shape.
It's true.
But maybe like, those Breath of the Wild style kind of like flat ferries where you have to like Korok leaf the thing across.
Yeah, that'll work.
Sure. Yeah.
But also you're really heavy, so I don't know if one of those could like actually hold you.
Probably
2,000 pounds?
Okay, let's say what I'm thinking of is you probably have it just dedicated for the centaur, and then it's being towed by another boat.
Specialized vehicles.
Yeah, if you're gonna, yes and no. But like if you're towing one in water, no big deal. But I mean, like bad things can happen. Like really bad things can happen.
Right.
And that give and take, right?
Give and take.
You want to put a river in front of your centaur party? Sick. That's going to be...
That would be cool. Entire party of centaurs. That'd be fun.
Problem solving. What about like, okay, I'm a centaur ranger. I get the jump spell. Mm-hmm. Fuck.
That's super cool.
Yeah. I fucking love some things are cool.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, I think we can kind of wrap this up and get ready for a long rest, unless you have any more questions.
Man, I really want to do a centaur build,
centaurs would be fun. Like if we build another character, we might build one.
We should do a ranger, and we should abuse the spell list.
Yeah, absolutely. We should see what's possible with our centaur bodies.
Long strider, become double long strider.
So before we take our long rest, I guess we'll take a moment to talk about Supercross Saga, the ongoing 5e live play we have here on the YouTube channel.
An epic sci-fi fantasy adventure crafted by the Dungeon Master Will himself.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. The players, me and special guest Jake and Josh Freeland, have a wonderful, wonderful time. We've all built characters that I think we really embody and like a lot.
I would definitely say so.
And
absolutely.
it's really starting. We're getting to a point now, and I can feel it. And it's been happening for the last few episodes where we're meshing really well.
Yeah,
as a unit.
Definitely.
Yeah, we're starting to get in our groove.
Which has been that was my goal for this story arc. Is like, okay, now I need to make them a team, and they need to learn how to work as a team, and it seems to have worked.
Squad.
They're a squad.
Space squad.
For sure. Space squad.
Rolling deep.
So yeah, it's a future fantasy adventure, and if you like D&D and you like us, you should probably check it out. With that being said, I think we can call it a game.
TDC Plays?
We already plugged TDC Plays.
Oh, we did in the short rest. Yeah. You can find us on Instagram, the Dungeoncast, on Twitter at the Dungeoncast, email the Dungeoncast@gmail.com. We have ad space open. If you're into that sort of thing, you can hit us up and we can talk about it. Yeah, social media. Let's call it a game.
All right, we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye. The Dungeoncast. Hey everybody, welcome to the Dungeoncast. I'm Brian.
And I'm Will.
This is the podcast where we talk about everything Dungeons and Dragons from...
Is that a blooper?
I just fucking blew a tire.
Yeah, you did. It was very impressive.